Well, goodness gracious. I've had enough caffeine to kill a horse, and I'm ready to fight God. Here we are in Stellaris. We are finally ready to actually begin playing the game after the 2.5 hours I've spent explaining how it works. It is quite dense, as I have said before. It runs like a dream once you actually start getting into it. So, here we are. We have our citizen our empire here, the Rec Valaran administration, space otters, representative democracy, environmentalist, functional architects, fanatic egalitarians, Xenophiles. We are charismatic, communal, adaptive, sedentary, and unruly. We're going to be starting with the prosperity unification start. It's the most basic start. Small boost to our resources for the first 20 years, and a number of other small things. We have an additional starting population. We also get an additional generator and agricultural district, as well as so the prosperous unification is the first 20 years. Yeah, happiness, amenities, and resources from jobs. We get a guaranteed research option, and no, that's it. Actually, we get a guaranteed research option that it boosts our unity. So very powerful start. If you'll notice with the environmentalist, we get an additional. So our biologists are turned into rangers. We have 200 more of them because we start with the ranger lodge, and they produce a small amount of resources for every natural blocker that we have on our home planet. So, like an urban sprawl or a trash heap does not count, but a great mountain or what have you would. We get a small amount of minerals from that. Functional architecture waves the technology for our basic district specializations. But before I get any further into that, we're going to just quickly recap on the generation settings for the game. We are starting with difficulty captain. Iron Man mode is off. This just prevents us from being able. This would prevent us from being able to save scum. 400 stars, free spiral arms. We've bumped hyperlane density up by 25%. We are starting with a random amount between 4 and 8 empires, and I'm actually going to. Can I bump the minimum? Yes, I'd like there to be at least 6 contenders here. Should get very busy. We've got 2 advanced AIs, but we will not be starting with them next to us. They'll be elsewhere, wherever we are in the galaxy. 2 fallen empires, precursor civilizations. Crisis type is random. Crisis strength is 75%. We're not going to have to worry about this for about 150 years after the game start. The scaling difficulty will be at mid game, so about 50 years into the game, the AI are going to have the full benefits of their difficulty modifiers, according to Captain. Does it actually describe? It gets a slight bonus to its economy, research, and naval capacity. Yes. The aggressiveness is normal. The logistic growth ceiling, the population mathematics are set to 5 and 25. These are basically default. Technology and tradition costs are halved. Difficulty adjusted technology costs is normal. Fleet upkeep and planetary deficit logistic costs is reduced. This determines how much trade upkeep is going to be spent on logistics, essentially. Transfer speed is irrelevant because that's a multiplayer setting for save file synchronization. Habitable worlds is plus 50%, pre-FDL is 1.75, empire placement is clusters, there'll be neighbors instead of spread out randomly. Abandoned gateways, okay, stargates in the system are set to 1, but the wormhole pairs are going to be very slightly increased. Guaranteed habitable worlds. I normally play with this off, and I think I still might, but I am tempted because it would be easier for me to show how it goes. I would recommend if you're playing for the first time, you play with this on. You can either have 1 or 2. It's a nice early game start, and with the other modifiers that we have to our system, we'll be rearing to go. But I will be playing with these off because I find it's more fun that way because I've played this game for 3,000 hours and I enjoy the logistical challenges that that presents. All of the precursors are on, so we may find archaeological dig sites for any one number of ancient civilization empires. We, as a single empire, will only get access to one of these. The AI will get access to the others. The game length is, let's see, we start at 2200, so mid game starts at 50. That's when the AI gets all of its bonuses, and we really start to come online. End game start year will be 75 years after that, and then the victory year will be 100 years after that. Without further ado, we are playing the game. My goodness. Preparing. Sagu, daughter of Utha. Prosperous unification. I've went for all this. We have unified the planet, and we are ready to make our claim on the galaxy. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so this is, we immediately have access to a technology that increases the research speed. So once that pops, another technology that would cost similar would be 75 months, I think, instead of 77, roughly. So, slightly between 2 and 3. We'll be doing xenobiology labs because there's a chance we won't roll that again, and we'll be doing material workshop. I wonder if the game's been slightly adjusted to guarantee that those will be part of your starting options. Now, it is tempting to go physicist, but research speed helps us out in general, and the bonuses that we get from planets once we build a research station over there. We already have one around Callisto. This is the solar system, by the way. This will be worth, oh goodness, 3 point, it would be 369, 3.0, no, it would be half that, so it would be 3.045. It's not much early game, but when it adds up over time, especially with how long these gates. Okay, we've got slightly better generation than we had for the previous. We're not in a nebula this time, so we can actually see our neighbors. And we have a perfectly inhabitable planet right next to us in the Trinaka system. We have Tobeva, Alpha Centauri, Olvani, and Bernard Star. If you start in a Sol system start, you will always have Alpha Centauri and Bernard Star very close by, if not one jump away from your starting point. We have chosen our technology. I will be going for, what do I pick? It makes them slightly more expensive though. Did we just go for the combined computing? I don't think that we'll be tech rushing too much. I do want to immediately sort of build district. What are we going to do? We are going to send our science ship out here to scan the system immediately because this is a very juicy inhabitable planet. And we're going to put them out over there. Eye for talent. Very good for a starter. We are going to send... I think it would be more efficient for us to go onto the planet and perhaps specialize this. So I'm going to do a thing here. We open up the trade menu. As we're starting, we have 29 trade per month. We can probably support about 20 minerals without going into a deficit because it's worth 1.3 each. So 20 minerals, 26 upkeep. So we can even bump that up a little bit. 28 point something, 28.6. So we buy 22 minerals a month, but we can also just go straight to the maximum that we can get without inflation, and we can tank the deficit for a little bit in order to really get going with our early game economy. So 20 here, 20 there. If I want, I can spend 100 minerals to go and perhaps get this small amount of resources in the Huamea asteroid. I think it randomly chooses which ones. Let's see. Do we do that? Do we do that? Do I have music on? We don't. Hear the beautiful background noise. But I'm just going to try and make sure it's not overpowering me, but it is about as loud as my voice. Turn it up on my end. With that, so one thing we want to do immediately, we'll let the game play. We're buying minerals. One thing we can do, actually, let's get rid of this. You see that we're getting 72 credits per month. I am going to add 30 by buying them, and then we're going to do a little population boost at the start immediately by clearing out some sprawling slums. I'm also going to go over here. Okay, population and jobs. Because we're fanatic egalitarians, we're going to go into the living standards for our main species, and we're going to bump them from decent conditions to utopian abundance. This means that the very large amount of civilians that we have currently, 1.7, are going to start producing research for us at the cost of consumer goods. If you've heard, recently there was a man in Australia who spent $3,000 to have the DNA of a... So he adopted a dog that had cancer. He paid $3,000 to have the dog's cancer DNA sequence done. Then through the use of AlphaFold, which is a thing that... it's very complicated, but it's to do with medical technology, and the other one that he used was ChatGPT. He identified the mutated sequences in the dog's DNA and then synthesized an mRNA vaccine after matching them to drug targets. Absolutely fascinating. I forgot why I brought this up already, but oh yes, because civilians this man had no background in biology, and he was able to pull that off. He managed to get permission to do a drug trial on the dog, and then immediately got the vaccine done, went out, had it tested, and the dog's tumor was halved in very short order. So, such fascinating possibilities as these, and unspoken, terrible, terrifying potential consequences can be made manifest by giving access to all sorts of different resources to the general population. So, okay, utopian abundance. Are you ready? I'm now going to hit the spacebar and we will begin playing. How terrifying. We're on normal speed. I would like you to come over here. And our research vessel is already going. We're to wait until the month ticks out. Boom, there we have. An update to our resources, an immediate deficit of consumer goods, but a number of things we can do now. We are going to take care of this. We're going to clear out the shanty towns and slums with the poor and the outcast, and we're going to integrate them into society. I'm not sure how this would be represented in real life, but I like to imagine that because we're so fanatically egalitarian, we're living in a utopian abundance, that we would likely give them very nice homes and give them all the toys in the world that they want to play with. Now, second thing we're going to do, we no longer need the energy credits. Get rid of that. And then come back. We're going to need 12 consumer goods. How much is that a month? That's at least 26 trade, and we are making a little bit more than that, so we can tack this cost. We would like to buy minerals as well, and I will just, for the first month or so, send our fleet back to... If you do the home order, the fleet will go back to the station. There was a mechanic where once you had a bunch of systems and you had a bunch of colonies, they would trade back and forth and you would have to patrol those routes to stop piracy. That's since been fiddled a little bit. you would patrol them with the military ships, and those would take care of it. Now the pirates will just spawn in an unoccupied system closest to wherever the juiciest trade route is, and you can choose whether or not to interact with them. So it's a little bit less immediately demanding. Now, policies and edicts. We could do this, but it doesn't really assist us in any form. If you start as a spiritualist, you can do, or as a pacifist, you can do festivals and such, and that will greatly boost your unity income. We have access now to our first tradition. What shall we do? What shall we do? Well, we care a lot about nature. We're very pragmatic. We're egalitarian and xenophile. We haven't found anything interesting yet, but there are a lot of systems around us, and we have a lot of planets over here. So, one thing we could do, we could go to expansion or adaptability, and this, where habitability would be increased, so it would be much easier to inhabit these planets, with the bonus to our species from adaptive and environmental diversification from adaptability. We could build a colony ship, go over here, and instead of the we would have complete habitability in this planet. So normally, with us starting in an ocean world and finding another one, that would be 80%. Our species trait bumps that up to 90%, and that tradition would bring it to 100. So there's just no penalties whatsoever for being on an alien planet. That being said, other juicy options, we could go with discovery to research the stars a little bit more and find it more likely to find anomalies, which would give us even more resources or strange events. Or we could go with expansion. This has multiple effects. It would make it faster to develop colonies. We could double down and make it even faster. So a colony that would take, normally I think the starting rate is 2 in-game years. We could cut that down to 1 year. Beyond that, it would also give us an extra city district when we finish colonizing it, as well as some growth speed. We can make it less expensive to claim outposts. Our empire size blow would be reduced from systems and planets, and our starbase upkeep would go down. Then once we get the whole thing, we get an extra district on every planet and an ascension perk. That's these things over here. You can. I should have mentioned this in the previous video, but I wasn't able to click anything in this menu. These are a number of perks that you can choose that give you different abilities. Interstellar Dominion's a very interesting early game one. Makes it easier to claim systems, makes it less expensive, and greatly reduces your empire size from having multiple systems. And there is a bunch else here, but I'm only going to mention them as they come up because it's quite exhaustive and I would like to actually play the game. So, another option, mercantile prosperity. So most of these, the name speaks for itself here. We have a bunch of ascension technologies here as well. We could become cyborgs. We could let our genetic engineering go hit just absolutely ballistic. We could dabble in psionics, or we could transcend our mortal forms into that of bodies and upload all of our consciousnesses into, microwaves and toaster ovens. That being said, let me think for a second here. Let me collect myself. Let me do some Vulcan throat singing. Right. We have a planet right here. We could colonize it very efficiently and see what the rest of the galaxy has to offer us. I think it would make sense to either do that or go for discovery? Do we want to map the stars quite quickly? I did make the place quite crowded, so I think actually we'll want to go with discovery at the moment, just so we can very quickly get all of these systems underway. It's tempting. I could also do expansion, and that would serve as another way. So we can make our technology gains faster, which would lead into potentially a lot of other things, or we could make expansion faster and just try and grab as many systems as we can before we run into alien empires. What do you think? I should have perhaps streamed this, and then I could do a voting system. Okay, let's flip a coin, actually. Do I have any? Yes, okay. Heads is discovery, tails is expansion. Oh Christ, that's heavy. Let me get a slightly cheaper coin. Right, we went with heads. It's discovery. Yeah, well. So now we get access to an edict, map the stars, we can pay a small unity cost, and we will survey systems much faster and have a better chance to discover anomalies. Let me look at my leader's screen. Ooh, field manipulation. What are we currently researching? Computers. So not immediately useful. Your leaders your available leaders will refresh every 5 years. We have a level 3 here with all of these fabulous traits and a large starting cost. But here we are. Is there something that we can do here? Can we perhaps build a research lab? What we can do, we could build the xenobiology lab and then double down on the Ranger Lodge, and that would be very good, especially with administrative AI. So it's actually very good that we went with discovery. We are going to tech rush massively down the society line. And later we can also even upgrade. Once we get the next line in this and we go to level 2 in biology, xenobiology or society specialization, we can contribute some of the space that we're using for farms into research, and likewise for the other two. What will we do with this? We could try, I think we could do medical research and slightly boost our things, or we could do research labs. I think generically I'm going to go and build some of these stations now. The reason I'm doing this in a particular way, we bring our thing over and it will not pay the cost for the station until it has reached the planet. This is very important for later. We're going to remove a blocker with this, which means we'll have 2 slots free. I am going to build mining districts, and I will also be removing the additional costs that we don't immediately bankrupt ourselves. This should theoretically, yeah, it ticks over before they reach it. So now you'll see we have 100 here, and now it's reached the station and it's going to pay the price. And we do have just a little bit more leeway for this. I'm going to see if we do 30 and bring that up to, yes, we'll be making 34. They're going to spend a couple of months doing that, and they might have enough by the time they've reached Neptune. Yes, that's fine. That'll not be relevant for a couple of months. Look at how great our research is coming in, though. So let's look at our civilians. We're making 10 apiece for all of our intangible resources from the civilians, as well as trade and a lot of the amenities. Basically funding all the arts and crafts in the world. Scientific endeavors. So research, we're gonna go with survey speed. That's gonna make our science ship a little bit faster, have it more likely to be able to escape if hostile forces encroach upon them. And we should not. We do in fact have enough by the time they've reached, so we can even bring this down here, all the way down, and now go back to being in a plus. Let's bring this up to 14 and get rid of this. And then let's immediately bring it up again. I want to make sure that I can get enough to do something interesting up here. Let's bring this way up. And we're going to try getting another civilian industries on the go. Right here after we tick over. Oh, not quite yet. So back down to 10. So you can fiddle with this as you like to get the balance right on your end. Unlock edict, research subsidies, research station. Yeah, so we'll be doing that, and then we'll go over to policies and activate it, and this will increase the energy cost. But also, you'll notice here there's a little thing here. This represents how much you're able to spend here without it affecting your Unity income. We have 15, we're currently spending 30, so ideally we want to get a technology to bump that up as soon as possible. But because we're doubling down on our research, it's okay for us to sabotage is not the right word. What is sacrifice a little bit of our Unity income towards this project. Although maybe not, as it does in fact have the amount that we have. That's maybe we'll worry about that in a little bit. The First League. We've recovered artifacts from an alien civilization on Tronaka Free. If what we have learned, this is our first anomaly, by the way, and also our first precursor civilizations immediately. The civilization was some sort of confederation that consisted of many different alien races. They called themselves the First League and appear to have coexisted in relative peace some 2 million years ago. Though the Tronaka system lives in a region of space that seems to have made up the core of their territory, a partial map found among the artifacts indicates that this First League may have covered a significant portion of our galaxy before its eventual collapse. Entropy claims another. And the discovery of alien life. The IVS Dar Iberinis has made a startling find on Tronaka Free. The planet is teeming with alien life. For the first time in history, we've encountered life forms that did not originate on Rekomak. This amazing discovery has silenced those who believed we were alone in the universe. Although none of the alien creatures found on Tronaka Free are sapient, it is likely only a matter of time before we encounter beings that are. We may not be alone out here. Click. Oh goodness me. So we'll do this for one more round, as we can afford to. Contact ports. Remnants. Rekvalaring xenologists are practically falling over themselves to publish their takes on the recent findings of alien life. This fevered storm in the scientific community has had some negative yet temporary impact on the pursuits in other fields. So, we can embrace this, and this will give us a small boost to our technology research. So we'll go from 735 to somewhere north of 1100, or we can unlock a guaranteed technology called hyperlane breach points. That's a physics tech it will then show up. So here we have planetary unification because of our origin. This is guaranteed research. Gold trim indicates as such. This will stay regardless of which option we choose here. These two may or may not appear once this is completed. And this will add hyperlane breach points over in the physics menu and also take it out of the table. So we'll have that in addition to whatever else we roll at the time. I think that we would like... Oh, it also affects automatic resettlement chance. So once we settle this colony, there's an increased chance that civilians in this planet, our home world, may randomly resettle over to there and fill out jobs as the market demands, which it can also be boosted by putting consumer goods and such. I do want the research just to be done with this a little bit earlier, but it's also good to have this as an option to free up our funds. Let's flip a coin, shall we? Heads top, tails bottom. It is tails. We're going with the physics research.
Survey complete.
And then we're going to send our science station over here. Let's see, we're not currently building anything. It's good to keep on top of this in the early game. We've somehow bumped up massively in our demand for consumer goods. I think that this is because we have run out of the amount of trade that we need to keep that trade going. So as soon as we do this, it should normalize. We wanted civilian industries. This will have an impact on our mineral income. That's fine though. And we'll just knock these out while it's available. It's good to have a surplus of at least 1,000 energy credits, because there's a couple of events that you can have that usually use that as a baseline cost that you might otherwise run out on. Going to start building a science ship and looking at our options for someone to send out there. We currently have a scientist as our president, so they are busy running the state of affairs on the home planet and cannot be used to man a science craft. Goodness me, we're already up to science division. Now, I forget, does this unlock the other options? No, so it will be after this that we'll get access to an additional option. Research alternatives. We also get additional scientist capacity, and when we roll at year 5 for new scientists over here, they will be 1 level higher. So we've sort of randomly rolled a level 3 scientist that we can recruit immediately. In future, the baseline minimum that we'll have is level 2. Expert field. I really like field manipulation, but this is also an excellent scientist for piloting a ship. So let's get you going over here, Ovani. In 10 months we might be able to afford that scientist, but we could also just get a slightly less experienced one.
And now
Perhaps the one that is good at doing archaeology. So here's our politics screen. Here's an agenda that we can launch. You always start it, well, depending on the type of authority that you're running, you'll always start with citizen pop happiness. So it will launch that. Quite close to evolving. And then can we do this? This affects your political output. So these are good to have together, and evolving society just increases your amount of unity per month. Open Arms is a xenophile agenda that increases your trade output and also increases the chance that your citizens are likely to automatically resettle to underpopulated planets. I've just turned down the music just a smidge because I noticed it might be... We're competing slightly. Let me put it down a little bit more. How's that? I really should start recording with Audacity so that I can independently sound balance. It's not a bad idea, actually. Give me just a moment. Get rid of that. And get rid of that. There we go. I'm on Audacity now. See, if you notice the audio quality changed just slightly, it's not you. Let's go with evolving society, perhaps. Yeah. I do kind of want people to move over, and we are using our trade pretty heavily. We're producing 120, so we'd get an additional 12 from that. Oh, an additional 6. We might need it to keep abreast of our consumer goods, but it's so good to have evolving society early game for rushing down those tradition requirements. Okay, so we have resilient here. Oh, something else I forgot to mention about the leaders. They have their own ethic and such, so being on the council will determine... 1 second. I wanted to sneeze, so I blew my nose. I thought that I had muted that. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just edit it out later. The ethics on the council will determine the attraction that your civilians, your citizens have towards a certain ethic. So everyone here is egalitarian. Your citizens are more likely to swap to or stick to the egalitarian ethic, and once we have factions, our xenophiles will be not displeased but bothered by the fact that there's no one representing their interests. It's not that there's a reduction in their opinion, there just is an absence of their approval, if that makes sense. Let's do this, bring this up slightly more, make sure that we're liquid. I would like to see more consumer goods being produced. I'd also like to build more mining districts, but I could also do that. We have so many people, we could afford to wait a couple of months and then perhaps specialize. And that would immediately put a lot of jobs into the mines. But it would detract from the bonuses that we're getting from the civilians. See, even the single district that I've built in the mining, we've went from 1800 to 1600. And that reduces the bonuses that we get from there. But here, okay, oh, very tasty. We have a rare unlock. We have a bioreactor. This means that essentially we can build, once we specialize the agricultural districts, we can build a building in there that converts some of our food production into energy. That is a very good one, but we have something to consider here. This is a rare technology, so it's less likely to show up. However, genome mapping, pop growth speed, is extremely valuable, especially early game, because it determines what you can do, how effective your planets are and such. In this specific instance, just to show it off, and because it might not show up again for the rest of the game, I'm going to choose bioreactor. And then we have, yeah, we'll do that. Now we've sent our little buddy over here, we're going to have him build a mining station. And in about, oh, I don't know, 16 months or so, that's going to pay for its own cost. A year and a half. Oh, starting event. We have the final crucible. Centuries ago, a group of radical priests and their devoted followers on Rekomak broke away from the established religions to form their own church. These extremists called themselves the Final Crucible and have been responsible for many atrocities and acts of terror over the years. Although they have kept a low profile in modern times, we recently learned that many of their agents have infiltrated our military. These renegades have secretly been diverting resources to the construction of a small fleet of starships hidden at a hidden facility on Rekomak. When their treachery was revealed, the cultists blasted into orbit on their ships and fled to Mars. Now, there's two options here, and I find these options quite funny. We can say they must be stopped, and this will start the whole event chain where you have to follow them, and eventually you'll find like an alien shipyard that they've been building. Or we can just forgive them, pay a small Unity cost up front, and then we get additional ships to kind of help us out early game. Not terribly interesting. So, you know, because I've went both ways. But I find that, obviously it's more interesting to actually follow the quest line. So they've spawned over, is it Mars? Yeah, they're on Mars. And then they're going to come over here, I think. Okay, maybe not. Let me think. We can go into ship design, defense platform, and perhaps get a carrier, yes. A Lorne Bascal. No, I usually like to call these specific things. No, that's not correct. Assailant. There we go. You can have these auto upgrade. You've got the different ship design parts here. You've got the computer that determines how accurate it is. You've got the radar that determines the better that this is, the further out that construction can see. So if we get an upgrade for that, the space station will naturally be able to see around here and probably be better at shooting things. And also the power supply. This determines, how much energy that it has. Like, you can use better lasers or better deflectors and stuff. We're using anti-railgun technology here. We're going to save the assailant, and we're going to build the assailant. Now, I've chosen a carrier. Why have I done that? It's going to send out little TIE fighters that are going to go beep, 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 and then surround this and eventually overwhelm it because it won't be able to shoot them down because it'll keep multiplying the amount of things. So the DPS increases not exponentially, but at least linearly with carriers, whereas it's just sort of a static amount of damage that comes from any other type of resource. And I think that these are just about in range that they should be afflicted by these, because the carriers are quite long range. So we don't have to engage them immediately, we can just upgrade and build a defense platform that is able to outrange them. They will naturally be aggroed inwards, and our ships will take minimal casualties as a result. Very good, very good. Let's go over here, build this. We have another tradition unlock. We get more recruitable leaders and they gain experience faster. And next time on Dragon Ball Z, we're going to have a reduced consumer goods upkeep. Very nice. Now, we're currently buying 15 and we have a surplus of 20. We'll bump that down to 5 and we'll double into our mineral income again. There we are. We've detected a wormhole, a natural wormhole. Where is this? Over here, I think. Yeah, our spaceship is not quite... It hasn't exited the hyperlane yet. We've detected what appears to be a naturally occurring subspace phenomenon on the edge of the Siagawa system. A rift in the very fabric of space-time has formed here, creating a wormhole that our scientists speculate may provide a conduit through subspace to another wormhole located elsewhere in the galaxy. Wait a minute. I had an extraction fan on that was causing me a headache. Depending on where the second wormhole is located, this could potentially allow ships to travel from one end of the galaxy to the other in a matter of days. Unfortunately, this wormhole, like the vast majority of its kind, is inherently unstable. Any vessels foolish enough to pass through it would be ripped apart in seconds. We have to unlock technology to interact with that. Oh, a continental world. Fascinating. So this is the same planet class as ours, but not the same type. This would be very easy for us to colonize, I think at around about 80, but thanks to our adaptability it is bumped up to a minimum of 70. And here we have the 90 over here. So they're going to research that. I'm going to have them poke their head around here, and in 40 days I'm going to buy a scientist for this spaceship and have them conduct various research. Let's perhaps get the... I'm tempted to get the field manipulation. That's some very juicy technologies. Did our shipyard... It did build, but it hasn't reached. Let's try and bait them out.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Are they doing it? Bring them over. Cultist ship disabled. Prepare the breaching charges. Our valiant space forces have skillfully disabled a ship in the cultist armada. It is mostly intact, and we are picking up faint life signs from inside its hull. Once we have eliminated all threats in the immediate vicinity, we should conduct a boarding operation to secure any survivors. They may be able to tell us more about the ultimate motives of the final crucible. So, I think we disabled the quest ship. We haven't done the rest of this yet. So are you over here? Yes, but your quest marker's over here. You require a science ship to research the debris, yes. Let's bring you back. You, however, let's go to the situation log. This will tell us the details. You need a military ship in orbit, but not necessarily a boarding one. Can I do it with this? Yes. We'll research it. And then you can go over here. This is working. Instructions unclear.
Complete.
Ooh. We can also sell items instantly. In fact, I'm going to do something here. Oh, I don't have enough. Oh, I do want a surplus, but not that much. Let's take this down just slightly so I won't be prevented. And we're going to have our buddy come over here and build a starbase so that we get eyes on these systems over here from the starbase sensors. So this, we now have 200. I think I am tempted to wait until we get this one. It's so good. Boarding action. Ooh. Though the survivors offered stiff resistance, our boarding party was able to secure several prisoners from the disabled cultist starship. From them, we have learned that this conspiracy goes far deeper than we initially suspected. The agents of the final crucible include several flag officers and high-ranking officials within our own government. Mass arrests are being made on Rekomak, and all assets belonging to this cult has been seized. However, several of the starships that they built in secret remain unaccounted for, and the upper echelons of the cult's leadership have vanished. We have picked up faint ion trails leading to several outlying systems. We must pursue these terrorists. The recent victory in Rekfea seems to have awakened a hunter in Commander Kald, son of Turk, who has now become a much more aggressive commander. Interesting. There is a small cheat that we can do here. Now, if you get aggressive, let me just think here. The trait does not apply to the leader until you hit OK. So what we can do here, we can do a little shenanigans and we can bump it over to this. So that's ship fire rate, ship weapons, and that would be good as a governor. That would be good as a military fleet, and this is a commander, likely. A general, sorry, for infantry. I'm not well, let's find out. So we're going to recruit someone who already has that trait, and then we're going to say yes, and it does nothing. So I could reload the game, but there's a chance that that's not going to matter. Did it apply to him anyway? No. So it thought that you didn't have the thing. What we should have done, well, you know, we're learning here. You're learning, I'm learning. I've got 3,000 hours in this and I don't have space in my mind to remember how everything works. What we could have done is got the guy with cautious, so increased range and fire rate, very tasty together, and that would have worked. But unfortunately, because he had the trait that it tried to apply, it didn't upgrade it, it just stuck the same one. Call it a day. Oh well. Here we have... Oh, it did bump up the amount that we have access. Did we already... I think we already had the same amount. Archaeology could be useful, but I do really want Abil, son of Nagar. Perhaps I shouldn't say it with that cadence. We will be buying minerals for 1 more month, and then we'll swap over to consumer goods. We can now get rid of this completely, and buy the maximum amount that we're allowed to from consumer goods so that we can more efficiently buy a colony ship and get to colonizing Tronaka. Oof. We've almost done building this.
Construction.
Embrace the bonds of alien life. So this would give us nothing, because we've already had a first incident with the discovery of alien life. But now we've discovered active alien life, spacefaring species. Ooh, very tasty. We've found the home system of space fauna, which in this case are space amoeba. There's a little spoiler there. And it doesn't matter which one we pick here because we don't get a bonus for it. We already got the bonus from discovering the habitable planet, with its own ecosystem. Build that mining station, fabulous. We now will assign one of our envoys to a first contact mission. We've made first contact with mysterious aliens in the Amar Alveo system. For now, we have codenamed them Teth aliens until we can find out more about them. If they possess a language, we must decipher it in order to establish communications. We've got Nock, Saka, and Tag. We'll be going with Nock because he happens to be the first in the system. Son of Siga. Glorious music indeed. No. Do we have enough? Yes, we finally have enough to get our level 3 scientist immediately. So we're going to do that and then have them immediately go start investigating surrounding systems. I think with this, we should also like to build another science ship and get our third scientist. We have space, yes, for one more.
Technology discovered.
Let's get our commander Orican online. They're better at commanding an army anyway. Basic combat roles, hyperlane breach points, many different options here. We can work on our engines, or we can make our military ships more efficient. We can increase our energy credit production. We're not exactly struggling for that at the moment. Or we can make it faster for us to colonize. Now, generally, even building one now, so let me actually on that. We'll start building a colony ship. It's going to take a year. We've got to get all the new folk situated and all the technology and resources required for them to settle down on a new planet and get everything started. What does it actually cost? Food, consumer goods, and alloys. They're going to take a long trip over there. But even now, it's going to take them a year, and then another year to get settled. Another 2 years because we didn't pick expansion yet. This is not worth getting quite yet, but perhaps this one. Ew. Several different fields. Basic combat roles is really good, especially early game. Makes it so that our space, our military vehicles will not be terribly underpowered. I am tempted to get everyone going though. Let's do it. The desert world's going to take a while for us to get to, I think. Taihan Disney. Fusion reactors. Let's take combat roles. It's going to make us just a little bit less pathetic.
Debris analyzed.
I think we're going to actually have you just research that straight up. We don't need to look at the desert worlds just yet. Alien missiles. Next thing we want on planet, I'm going to get rid of a blocker because that you don't like to have downtime on your planets. You like to have something going constantly. What a shame I didn't save the previous file. Having architectural interest is very good for early game to start one of those. We don't have it here. Envoys. Oh, that's a new trait. And food. Oh, food's very good. What is it we have? Colony ship build cost minus 25. Ooh, so that cost a whole 50 less of each of these resources, whereas you normally need 200 of each. That fertility preacher is good because it increases your food and also increases your population growth. Bioreactor. Fabulous. We can get eco simulation. This will make it so that we produce more. Oh, it's the other one. So it increases the efficacy and also builds a building that increases your limit. Planets have a natural predisposition for how many of each type of district that they can support. And some buildings allow you to stretch that a little bit by giving them specialist support and infrastructure. So let's see here. That's mining districts, that's research capacity, and that's mining jobs. You can also just add jobs to the area. Let's get our xenobiology lab going and start racing down the biology tech tree, as well as engineering once it becomes available.
Technology discovered.
There we go. I had to refresh. So, we've researched that. And we've got one of the best starting technologies. Planetary infrastructure build speed. Takes a whole 25% off any buildings that you're making. So instead of a year, it takes like, 9 months. Got our scientists going over here. We're going to build a construction ship to build at both angles. You are going to build that starbase, and you're going to keep going the way that you are. I have a feeling that there's likely an alien empire over here in this area. We are fiending for choke points, it seems. Alpha Centauri and Barnard's star might be... That would be there and there, I think. Cover over here, my lovelies. We've already got your landing zone picked out. Is that an infernal world? It's a molten world. That's a new graphic. That's not a mod. That's something that they've made in the last year. Look how beautiful it is. The IBS star of Tidanith discovered a previously unknown strategic resource dubbed volatile motes. This was the one I forgot in the previous video. And this Alpha Centauri system. They contain immense energy with applications ranging from energy production and fuel to explosives. We cannot extract this resource yet, but we could establish control over the system for future exploitation. We are sure to find more of these types of resources as we continue to explore the galaxy, each with unique properties and applications. Yes, and we'll get a similar one when we find exotic gases, living metal, Zro, and probably one that I'm still missing. Let's send you over here and get you going. What shall we name our planet? Well, we can call it Ternaka Prime, or we can hit the randomize button. Halkiran Mandate, Suprag Colony, Kelnik, New Stellaris. Hit the pause button. Faris Mandate, Poznanu, New Ovkir, Faris Mandate. Let's call it Cradle. I like strange names like that. Faith in science. We get an immense reduction to consumer goods upkeep for our scientists. Good as we are about to strategize quite heavily into them. Just a moment, we're going to have 400 researchers. And with that, unlocking our first tradition tree in its entirety has given us access to an ascension perk. Oh, goody. Now we're already tech rushing quite severely. We have a couple of options here. We can make it easier to expand. We can make research focus policies. Oh, yes, they changed how this works. Usually it was just a 10% increase to your research speed, but now you have policies that determine where you want your focus to be. We have the option to make it to get increased unity gain. We could do mastery of nature. This will make it much easier for us to clear blockers. Counterintuitively, it makes us... It's not good for an environmentalist civic. And it get mastery of nature, mass districts, max resource districts from planetary features and such. Yeah, so I mentioned this a second ago. The planets themselves, the Pacific algae tracts unlock free agricultural districts. So doing this would mean that we would get technically 4.5, but I think it would be rounded down to 4 unless we get something that tips that up. So this one's 4, that would be rounded up to 6. Imperial prerogative reduces empire size from planets and makes it so that we have more space for officials. Executive vigor, very simple. Council agenda speed is increased. Politician is one of the single most important traits that your leaders can pick up in the first 3 levels of their career, because it increases the speed at which this will pop. What was the other one? Where am I going? I'm getting lost. An edict fund. So this determines how much we can contribute towards our edicts without it affecting our Unity income. Yes. Finally, shared destiny. This is only relevant if we have subjugated empires. Transcendent learning is also increased leader experience gain, decreased upkeep, usually Unity. There are some civics that allow you to transfer a portion of this to food or energy, and we get additional scientists. I would like to go for technological ascendancy. Yes, we're doubling down and tripling down on this route. We are going to become the most advanced society that ever was. Do I need to... Yeah, you need a day for it to apply the modifiers. The game is 10 years old at this point. There's a little bit of spaghetti code, and it's also been changed fundamentally several times over the years. And so that we have small conceits like these in order to keep everything running smoothly and to avoid paradoxes, if you'll excuse the pun, being that the developer is called Paradox. Now, this is interesting. We have a scientist who's very good at field manipulation, so we can make it more likely that those research options show up and make them research faster. I think that sounds like a great idea. Society. I would like to double down on biology, because I would like it to go faster, the amount of research that we do in general. So this will give us a very strong start. And finally we have, let's see, engineering. We do have the ability to make a materials lab. I'm going to go assembly patterns. This is industry, isn't it? Yes. So our policy here should be... It does not actually detract. We can have a general boost, or we can choose to forgo that and have a better chance of specific studies coming up. Oh, this is unfortunate. Luckily we are on biology, but what I should have done is check first, so that towards the end of this I could then change it and not suffer a 10% being lost. This would take 16 months if it was anything else. Materials, propulsion. So materials, ceramics, the stuff we build with, propulsion, how fast our ships go, voidcraft, the types of ships that we have, and industry, which is just generalized stuff. Shape of things. We'll be going with... I think industry is the right choice here. Yes. And if not, we can figure it out in 10 years. Yes. Finally, we're in computing at the moment. We can wait on this and swap to field manipulation once it has reached a zenith. I'm going to play the first 10 years of the game, so we're going to keep going for a while longer. It's going to speed up a little bit as we go into it. And the next episode of this is going to be much less tutorialized. Upon entering Amar Alvo, our sensors picked up strange readings. Dismissed as first as glorified asteroids, things quickly changed when it was discovered that these entities reacted aggressively to movement in space, even at great distances. Observation of these entities, preferably from a safe distance, is advised. So it says, entering the space. We technically haven't with any of our controlled ships, but this represents people going in, the envoys, doing a little bit of research and the like. So every month we're going to roll for a chance to break through. We're going to get insights, and then the insights will make it more likely that we can have events that cause insights. This phase has a 60% chance of granting insights, which increase the chance of future phases' success. So there's a chance that we just do it. There's a chance that we roll an insight, and every insight will make it more likely that we'll roll. At the moment, we have 0 chance to make progress, but we can have an event that increases that to a 10 or so. And then let's focus on the mining station first, as that's the resource that we need. And then over here. Yes. Let's do another. As soon as we have the ability to, I would like to do another colony. Our colony ship has made a gentle splashdown in the planet-spanning ocean of Cradle, near the shores of a large archipelago. This fertile island chain provides a suitable environment for growing food. The ship has been converted into a reassembled ship shelter to serve as headquarters, and its reactor core removed to act as the colony's temporary power source. Tents filled with construction materials alongside prefab shelters have sprung up around the ship's hull as colonists disembark, marking the first Rek'Valar city on an alien world. We have a couple of options here. This basically determines the ethics that these citizens are likely to adopt and support as they move into the first, the successive, once it becomes a fully functioning colony. And for the first 20 years of this colony's existence, they'll be more likely to follow these ethics. So we can do xenophilia and gain a bunch of credits at the same time, or we can do egalitarian and gain some food. We have 2 pressures here. We have less food than our energy resources. We're also going to eventually make a bioreactor. And when we form factions at year 10, which I will explain before moving into the next phase, the next episode. When we form factions, they will be more likely to fall in line with the current ruling ethics that we have, and provide more amounts of unity. So we'll go with fanatic egalitarian. Yes. There's nothing to do here just yet. Are we at the peak? No, but we can be. Choose to do a little bit of that. I think I might build something that gives us additional trade value. That'd be useful. Normally, I think this might have changed recently. Normally, you're supposed to start with natural blockers, but Sol's system is a special case that has its own specific blockers that we're unable to, that don't contribute to the specialization of the Ranger Lodge. So I've slightly disadvantaged myself there.
Survey complete.
Let's see, medical center, is that trade value? No, but it will definitely increase population growth. I can tell you that much. Eco simulation is done. Perfect. Now we have the ability to research food processing. So if we did not take functional architecture, we would need to research this in order to specialize our agricultural sector. This is not the case, but we do still need it in order to use the edict, which will trade energy for food output, or resources, sorry, and to build a building that will also increase the efficiency of those workers. Now, here's the curious thing. Because we've unlocked bioreactors, we can do this, activate the edict, and it will cost us credits to increase our farmer output, which will also in turn increase our credits with the bioreactor. Very curious, isn't it? Already we're unlocking the technology to for various different blockers. We're going to go with planetary unification. This gives us a bump to our resource and also makes it so that we earn more over time. And as you can see, we've already cut into it quite significantly with the hiring of that scientist recently. We're going to build another colony ship. And they're going to go all the way over here to this alien planet and begin colonizing that as well. After which, we're going to begin I've lost my train of thought. I don't think there was anything there. I was just expecting there to be. Oh, there's a tropical world very close by. We might even occupy that world, but I think it has an anomaly. No. We need to survey it first and then also own the system that it's in.
Construction complete.
Let's get our buddy over here. Get them going. You are carefree, so I would like... I'm going to keep them on the path that they're on. Once this is done, I'm going to get a science ship, get another one to go do some research. I would like to get... Oh, we re-rolled. Yes. Energy... Oh god, that's very expensive. They're a very good governor, though. Pre-sapient species found. Fascinating creatures roam the plains and coasts of Ibaka 2. The IBS Dar Eberinus reports that the fungoid life forms are using tools, however limited, and may have the potential for eventually achieving sapience. Scientist Teague, son of Otra, stresses that finding alien life in this state is a rare opportunity. Should we choose to uplift them, they may prove useful. We can see... I knew it was going to be this portrait. They don't show up because they're not technically a species yet. They're pre-sapient, so they haven't... It doesn't count in this menu, I think. I might have to let it play for a second. I think we need to be in control of the system and or possibly of the planet itself. Oh, there we go. We've found a pre-FDL civilization and it's right over here. We have a couple of options to do with this, but I'll read this out first. We have detected the presence of a pre-FDL alien proto-civilization on Sierra 1 in the Sierra system. Our probes show that their Neolithic culture has mastered fire and developed a rudimentary spoken language, but we have yet to see any evidence of metallurgy or written communication. We should consider building an observation post above their world to study them more closely. This will give us a small amount of society research each month, once we do so. We have a couple of options. We can study them passively, we can study them aggressively, and try and shape the nature of their culture, especially through acts of espionage. Or we could build a bunch of infantry and foot soldiers and send them over to the planet and just take over immediately. This has some opportunity costs, namely that you will inflict culture shock as a modifier on the planet for up to 50 years if you do not first make them aware, at least, that life is out there amongst the stars. First contact event pending. Okay, we've made progress on contacting the Space Amoeba. The entities encountered by our fleet some time ago are new, wondrous forms of spaceborne life. Quickly nicknamed Space Amoeba following an analyst's gross misreading of initial sensor output, the creature is in fact larger than the average Rekfalaran corvette. We should leave it be and remotely monitor the creature and its kin from Rekomak. Now, we can choose the default option that all empires usually have. Fascinating creatures, we get a small amount of influence, and we can study them. Or, if you have either pacifist or xenophile ethics, you can do a little bit more of that, and you can choose to pacify them so that they remain non-hostile towards you. We'll be doing that because I would very much like to cohabitate and study their system. You can get a lot of science output here. This starts the situation log over here. 111 months. My goodness, it's just a while away, isn't it? I think it might be more prudent for us to find an alternative there. Perhaps we will unlock the technology to have a physics lab first. What is going on over here? Luxury residence. I feel as though I should have cut off at the 5-year mark. That's fine.
Anomaly detected.
I want to build agricultural focus next, I think. But I might wait just a month to see if we get access to the specialization district. Focus our efforts elsewhere. Oh gosh. Let's research sequentially over there. You are going to come over here and occupy this planet. I think if there's no one here, and there's no one here, we have a very beautiful choke point and a massive sprawling empire if we get out to here and here.
Technology discovered.
And with that in mind, we are going to choose expansion next, especially with all these colonies that we're about to be making. There's our unity buff. Oh goodness, yes. We have pop growth speed. It's a toss-up between these two, but I will be going with pop growth speed, just to give us that early game edge. How long until we get this? 1.5 years. I do want to accelerate our research speed, and that's going to be better off if we have adaptive bureaucracy. This is unfortunately also going to spam out our research options as it does different various things. Going down the line of genome mapping, we will eventually get the technology to unlock uplifting. Oh right, okay, our first Fallen Empire contact. Here we go. Militant isolationists. Unfortunate. Pitiful creature. Know that we roam the stars. Oh, I skipped it. Oh no. I'm going to do something very clever and tedious for myself. I'm going to do a bit of editing, and I'm going to go back into the video and locate the text block and then put it on screen and read it out to you. One moment. Pitiful creatures, know that we roamed the stars for eons before your hapless species mastered spaceflight If any of your wretched little ships cross into our space, do not expect them to return. Now, there are free options here, but each of them will say that the Fallen Empire cares little for our diplomatic maneuvering. There's a positive one, a neutral one, and a hostile one. We shall greet you as equals and friends, star travelers. We pursue true equality. Do not stand in our way. You will be our friends whether you want it or not. And they truly do not care in any case. But without that, let's move on. Now we have first alien encounter. The news that we have encountered intelligent alien life for the first time is spreading like wildfire throughout the administration. Our citizens are fascinated by these beings, and media is full of reports and speculation on their culture and society. The revelation that we are not alone in this galaxy has been largely greeted with celebration on Rekomak. The empire these aliens have founded appears to be very old, and their level of technology is far ahead of our own. There is no doubt a great deal that they can teach us. Their wisdom must be great. Like, and they've spawned over here, so because of their sensors, they have detected our outposts over here through, I think, here. Yeah, so I think they own this system, which means they probably own maybe this or that system, and have detected our outpost being built. Oh, those are two individual ones, huh? Let's go in the garden. You'll find something waiting. Energy production over here. Detract just a little bit from our civilian output. Oh, I've paused the game, I do apologize. Why is OBS on the wrong screen? There we go. What else are we doing? We've got a little bit of downtime. Assembly patterns, yes, now we can build things faster. So we can unlock a frigate, or we can unlock technology for our carriers, or we can make our corvettes a little sturdier. We will be going for standardized corvette patterns. This is going to make it much cheaper to build our military vessels, and once that pops, we're going to start building up our economy in that direction. Are we still buying consumer goods? Yes, we don't really need to do that now. We'll go down to 5, and we'll bump up our mineral income, because you can never have enough minerals truly early game. I'm tempted even to get a quarry deposit. Let's build an additional city district. That seems like a good time. Do we have anything particular? We have no specific modifiers on this planet. We might have them on this one, but we can't look at them until this pops. There we have it. Oh, so toxic kelp. Very good. Immediately is a... Yes, everything's stabilized now. It just had to roll over. We are going to want to build a ranger lodge before anything else. So give me just 2 months to get that going. Is this still going? Yes, which means we can get this started immediately. And that will be a much better use of our resources.
Construction complete.
Now I can talk about this. The biologists on this world are going to make use of these resources, but it's not going to tell us until we build the building. Na, 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 na. 14, 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Immediately it's going to look like it's more efficient for us to move our capital over here perhaps, but for the moment we'll just have it here. And you are going to touch down on this planet. Colonize. New Bertag, Kelnik Colony, New Turbak, Irana, Etheri Mandate. Sure, why not? In the middle of a wormhole system. This seems like it's going to be of strategic importance later. Does this affect the cost? No. It does make it faster. We're going to spend our allies on that, making sure that our assets are well protected. Who knows what might be able to traverse the wormhole. Certainly nothing friendly. Or we can but hope, though.
Survey complete.
There we go. We've already got access to this. I would like to... Oh, gosh. I'm going to prioritize speed here. I want to build this starbase and get access to this choke point before someone else does. And also this one. Let's see now. Got all this done. We could probably use allies. Yeah, let's do it. There's nothing in particular here, very special. We might get a random event that changes the modifiers of this planet. Not yet, however. Does this have anything special? Natural beauty, increased happiness, and an increased chance of a resettlement. We'll see if it has anything special to offer us in a moment. Okay, field dynamics, resettlement, survey speed. Let's do field dynamics. We want to catch it up to the rest of our production. And we can probably build it here, or perhaps in the other one.
Construction complete.
Yes. Immediately, I would like you to build your mining stations. One of which is two-toned. So Alpha Centauri, these molten worlds, this one provides... Because these are so close to the binary, they're just constantly aflame. Much like Mercury. Is it Chthonian planet? I'm sure it gave us a pop for this. It doesn't describe what the event is, it just applies the modifier, however. Edict, fund. We're going to... Oh, Autochthonian monument. Yes, this will increase the amount of unity that we get over time. Very tempting. Let's do it. We're going down our tech tree and we're secondarily pouring into our traditions. We're almost at it. This is all at normal speed, by the way. The game is very dense. Very dense indeed. We don't really need to work on anything here. Oh yes, the biologists. Now, what are they producing? They are producing food from each of these toxic kelp tracks. Half of so one food per 200 rangers. Is it affected by blockers? Unity from naturally occurring blockers is +8 right now. That's a really good buff. We are probably going to want to... I'm not sure what to do with this planet just yet. We could make a research enclave, or we could even do society specialization. And because this is producing food for us, we can feel a little bit more comfortable about building that specialization over here. Can I do this yet? We don't have neural weaving technology. That might roll next time. That's an upgrade to the technology that we unlocked here. What is it? Xenobiology. The next step in this will allow us to build research specialization that increases the research in accordance to the relevant resource. So this one is physics, this one is in engineering, yes, and this one is society, under which biology falls, in this case. Is there a...
Survey complete.
There is not. So we'll send you over there and then maybe over here to scout the choke points again.
Survey complete.
Survey complete. In 1 month, we'll get the ability to make it cheaper to claim outposts. We should start working on...
Complete.
Do we want more civilians? I feel like maybe. Suddenly wishing I had unlocked that thing. What we can do... Oh, let's not do it that way though. We get powered exoskeletons. So this is the very initial verges of robotic technology, is just essentially exoskeletons for the workers to do their jobs more efficiently. If you're working in like a warehouse, you might want a little bit of additional strength to help you out. This makes our workers slightly more effective, as well as our soldiers. Starbase influence, cost, or colony development speed. We're running a little bit low on influence, and I'd like to secure our borders as fast as possible, so that's what I'll be doing. We could have chosen the other one, and it would have given us additional district at the massively reduced, paid the mineral cost for us, but that's okay. This is a more important resource this early in the game. It's starting to mix up my words. As soon as we cover this area, we'll be good to go. But 3, 2, 1, tick over. Do we have any events? The start of our election. This happens every 10 years with a democratic government. If you have a different kind of authority. Let's see here. Oligarchic is every 20 years. Dictatorial is whenever they die, and same for imperial, but the imperial gets to choose the heir. And that doesn't apply to hive mind or machine intelligence. They're a gestalt. The intelligence is decentralized between them all. Now, there's some options here, and we can choose to increase our support. So if we're like, oh, we'd maybe want to bring Sagu out of there and have Tegan, we can increase our support, and it'll be more likely that we'll choose them. At the moment, it's looking like the candidate with the most votes will be Sagu, who will win at the end of this. If you have an oligarchy, I think it's random if you don't pick one, or megacorp is also functions like a... I'm not sure, I would have to look it up. But for the moment we have... Yes, all very tempting options. Maybe we wouldn't want this one because they have a trait that's specific to commanding an army, and we wouldn't want Larb because they have something that makes them better at running planets. But Sagu and Teague are equally viable. Sagu, I would say more so because they have something that makes Starbase modules slightly better. Interesting. They're already our president. Oh, this applies whether or not they're the head of research. So yeah, equal contenders. We'll just let that go as it may. But with that, we are 10 years in. I'm starting to lose what words mean. And I will be ending this episode here. I'll come back to it slightly later and continue from where we left off. Thank you so much for watching. I am excited to be introducing people to this game, especially with the recent updates as of Biogenesis, Corvus, all the way that everything's worked has been streamlined quite judiciously, and it's a very exciting game for the intellectually or perhaps neurodivergently inclined. If you would like to help out the channel and get these tutorials into the inboxes of more individuals, do feel free, leave a like on the video, leave a little comment. Everyone counts, even if you leave a little emoji. Every little bit of engagement counts. Consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more. If you don't, feel free not to do any of those. Even disliking the video if it's not for you, I think that technically helps the metrics. So you may not want to see more of this, but if you dislike it, I think it calibrates the engine or whatever the heck. In any case, once again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. It is inevitable. Have a very fabulous day, and goodbye, my friends.